Eric Paul's here, going to give you guys the fades, the sleepers, the value plays, and the shoulder shrug plays here for the Players Championship. Let's get right into it. All right, guys, so I'm not going to lie, I have been very hesitant to kind of give you guys this content because overall it is just fluff content here, okay? If I'm not doing my job, then I would have to give you guys this content. So if I wasn't giving you guys the correct plays, the correct information to succeed in the 1 to 2 videos that I post on YouTube per week, then I'm not doing my job, okay? A lot of this is just fluff content. Give you guys more content, that's all it is. But this week, with the amount of people that are giving content for the Players Championship, there is going to be more, if you will, bad content out there. And I don't want to say that, but it's kind of true. There is just content out there that's not as good. So kind of take it with a grain of salt, if you will, but that's kind of why I decided, hey, let's get this information out to everyone. So the first player that I want to touch on in terms of a fade is actually going to be Bryson Dechambeau. Now, Bryson DeChambeau is a quality player, especially for this event. He ranks out top 10 in the model, has good course history here, and, obviously he's in good recent form. The worry with Bryson DeChambeau is that we've seen really this whole year that players that are not in, or that players that are coming off of a victory just have not been playing well, really the next event. So obviously that's going to be the worry with Bryson DeChambeau. That's kind of going to be the reason why I decided to fade him this week. So he's going to be the first fade for me this week. Then after that, we are going to go with Ricky Fowler. And I know most of you guys that are watching this already know to fade Ricky Fowler, but some people, the general public that's playing a lot more this week, might not know to fade Ricky Fowler. He's been horrible recently. And yes, he does have good course history, which maybe that can mean that he makes the cut, but just don't expect that much from him. There's much better quality plays around him at that price point for him this week. And then kind of echoing that as well, we got Justin Rose here. And I don't think he's a bad play. It's just not someone you should go out of your way to play, especially at that price point. Once again, there's much better quality plays at that price point range. Now, he does have great course history, so that's why I wouldn't be shocked if he goes out and plays well. He did withdraw from the event last week, and he was playing well. He cited an injury, so, for me, had he not had that injury and had he played well, I might have thought about playing him. But for me, now I'm going to choose to fade him. Then Matthew Fitzpatrick, this is a true fade. And I should probably explain to you guys what a fade is. A fade is a player that has some name value to them, a player that people might end up on if they didn't know any better. And that's kind of why I'm giving you guys these fades. So Matthew Fitzpatrick, he has been playing great golf recently. 10th, 11th, and a 5th place finish in his recent starts. And he actually has been playing well at this course over the last 2 times that he's played it. Not the best at fit, but given his price point, I just don't see a way that I could end up on him this week. And, he's a player where he does have great recent form where people can talk themselves into it if they go that route. I just think that it's not a player that you guys want to be banking on this week. So I'm going to choose to fade him. And then the bold fade of the week is going to be Justin Thomas. So Justin Thomas is getting talked up a ton. And I think it's wrong that he's getting talked up as much as he is. He is a quality play, okay? He ranks out top 12 in the model this week. So I'm not saying he's a bad play, but I am going to say I think that the model ranking of him is pretty much correct. What is he? The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rated players. So there's about 6 more players, according to the model, that are going to be better players than Justin Thomas. And I tend to agree with that. If Justin Thomas is looking like he's going to be chalky, I do worry about that. He's a guy where, there's just some stuff going on personally for him that does make you kind of worry with him. It is a bold fade, but I'm going to choose to fade Justin Thomas this week, especially just given his price point. I would much rather play Webb Simpson or Xander Schauffele if we're going to choose between paying up or paying down. That's the route that I would go. Now we're going to get into some sleepers here, and I'm just going to pull up a few of them here at once so that you guys can see it, kind of why they're sleepers. So a sleeper to me is a player that, we don't really have a reason to go out of our way to play, but we also don't have a reason not to play them. That's also a shoulder shrug play, but the caveat with the sleeper is that they have something that we want to dwell on, okay? So for a lot of these guys, they're going to be good stat ranks or good course history or a little bit of both, where shoulder shrug plays, they're not going to be that. So we'll start off here. Harris English. So Harris English last year at this tournament, after round 1, was in 2nd place. He has horrible course history, and he hasn't been playing that well recently. With Harris English, I would be hanging my hat on the fact that he finally had a good event in his last event. really since he's won 2 events in a row. He's really struggled since then, but he's a guy where this course should be a good course for him. Obviously had the career year last year, so he's a guy where I could see him going off and having a spectacular week. It wouldn't be shocking if that happens. And then Jason Day as well. Jason Day has the 7th best course history here out of anyone. We look at the reason why: 60th, 5th, and then an 8th place finish. Overall, his recent form has been a little bit hit or miss. If he didn't have that horrible Sunday round last week, he'd be a quality play. All right, he had an 18th place finish the week before that and a 7th place finish the week before that. So Jason Day is one of those guys who, if he goes out and has a solid week, it's not going to surprise me this week. And then Russell Henley. Russell Henley makes a ton of sense. He's a top 10 stat fit play. Honestly, if Russell Henley goes out and gets a top 10 this week, it's not going to be shocking at all. Now, he hasn't played this event all too well. Okay, he's made one cut out of his last 3 attempts. But we got to look at kind of his recent form: 11th miscut, 30th, and 38th place finish. Given the fact that he's a good stat fit, it wouldn't be shocking to me if he goes out and gets a top 10. That's why he's a sleeper to me. Kind of like, I guess, if you will, Corey Connors last week, where, you know, he's a top 20 stat rank play, but wasn't really ranking out all too well in the model because of either, you know, good, poor course history. That's kind of the case with Russell Henley this week, where he's a good stat fit and relatively good recent form. It wouldn't be shocking if he goes out and contends for the victory this week. And then moving on from there, Scottie Scheffler, just an ultimately great stat fit. 6th in the field. So he's just been playing some better golf recently. He had those 2 missed cuts in a row, really sucked, and then a 7th, 20th, and a 5th place finish. Him at his current price point is highly appealing to me, and he's a guy that easily could go out and get a top 5 finish at this course, and it's not going to be shocking at all. And then Ryan Palmer as well. He's actually popping in the model, top 16, but he's been very hit or miss, as you guys can see here. 2 made cuts and 2 missed cuts. His 2 made cuts were top 25 finishes, though. That's kind of been his recent form as well. So he's very hit or miss, but he's a guy where if he goes out and gets a top 10, not going to be shocking to anyone. And then we'll get into some shoulder shrug plays, and then we'll get into the value plays here for you guys. So a shoulder shrug play to me is a guy that, you know, you're closing out your build. You got the 5th or 6th player in your build that you have to finish out with. This is the player that you end up on, and you're like, all right, that's good enough. Let's close out this build. It's a play where if you end up on them, you don't have to rebuild your build. You end up on them and you feel pretty good about it. So let's get them in there. So we got Tony Finau, we got Sungjae Im, and now Ian Poulter. We got Adam Scott, who I'm going to throw in there, and I'm going to talk about these guys obviously more in depth. And then we also have Hideki. All right, so give it a couple of seconds to load here. All right, so we got it. So do want to start off with Ian Poulter and Adam Scott. They're both at a price point where if you end up on them, well, you're probably going to end up on that price point range a decent amount. They both have strong course history here, all right? Ian Poulter, top 16 in the field in course history, and then Adam Scott is the 1st best in course history. These two are guys that typically just play well at this course. Ian Poulter typically plays well on Florida golf courses in general. If you end up on those two, kind of just because of that, I'm good with it. Now, they're not going to rank out overly well in the model, 44th and 34th for both of them. But it's kind of just where we had that prior knowledge to the point where it's like, you know, I'm okay with it. I feel good that they're going to give me an opportunity to make the cut. Obviously, with the shoulder shrug play, you're thinking that they're not going to hurt you, but they're also not going to help you too much. They're just going to help you cash, if you will. They're not going to go out and exceed the value too much, but they're not going to miss the cut. And that's kind of what a shoulder shrug play is. Another play like that is going to be Hideki, the 1st round leader last year. Hideki, he actually ranks out top 27 in the model, has good course history here as well. Had been playing kind of horrible golf, and now he has kind of somewhat figured it out. You know, only 1 missed cut mixed in there, which I think that does say something about Hideki. He's had 2 straight top 20 finishes. So yeah, if you end up on Hideki, you know, you're not feeling bad about it. You're feeling good about it. But once again, he's not a player that you want to go out of your way to play. And then same thing for like Sungjae Im and Tony Finau. So Tony Finau, he doesn't have good course history here, guys. 2 missed cuts and then a 57th and then a 22nd place finish. You know, only 1 top 30 finish in the last 4 years. That's not that good, but he's a guy that's been playing tremendous golf recently. He's not a guy that I think we should like overly go out of our way to play, but he's definitely a guy where if you end up on him, you're feeling good about it, you're closing out your build, and you're moving on from there. Kind of same thing with Sungjae Im. He's kind of a lesser version of Tony Finau, although he has relatively good, I don't want to say course history, but he played well last year in the 1st round, missed a cut in his 1st attempt. And he's been in relatively good recent form as well. One miscut, no miscut, sorry. 5 straight made cuts, all around top 30 or so. So yeah, he's a play that I don't mind as well. You know, if you end up on these guys right here, you're just okay with it, move on with your life. And now we're going to get into the value plays here, just kind of quick and easy. I'm going to dwell on them a little bit more than I did kind of the last two. So we're going to start off with Keegan Bradley here. Keegan Bradley casually catching my eye. So we're getting a player that ranks out well in the model, top 30 in the model as a value play. You know, that's pretty good. He's a guy that does have good course history, has made the cut here 4 straight years. We look at his recent form, not bad. So I typically like to look at the last 3 events in terms of predicting an outcome: 22nd, 60th, and a 10th place finish over his last 3 events. Obviously, that's something that we like to see. So Keegan Bradley as a play, as a value play, does make sense to me. You know, he sucks at putting, but we saw last week where it was a tale of 2 halves. He had a horrible round putting, and then he had a few decent rounds of good putting. He ended up actually playing well. If he takes out that one horrible round, he wins the tournament last week. So yeah, Keegan Bradley, I don't mind as a play. It seems like a great value that we're getting him at. And then kind of same thing for Emiliano Grillo. He's kind of that ideal player for a course like this. Great in ball striking, good in effective drives gained, good in effective greens gained, doesn't make many bogeys. Emiliano Grillo does make a ton of sense. Tournament history, you know, not bad. Actually, it's really good. But he was struggling at the end of round 1 last year at the Players. So you do worry about that, but recent form could be a little bit better as well. You know, he did play well at the Puerto Rico Open, which is something that we see right here. So I don't mind Emiliano Grillo as a play as well. You know, it's tough because like we don't feel great about playing Emiliano Grillo or Keegan Bradley, guys that aren't really good putters. You know, that's just kind of the nature of the beast. Now we look at Charlie Hoffman. Charlie Hoffman has 1 made cut here, which was a top 30 finish. Other than that, all miscuts in the last 4 years. Recent form has been there. I touched on this play a little bit. He's a player where if he goes out and makes a cut, if he goes out in top 10s, it's not going to be surprising because he's shown that recently. When he's been healthy, he's been playing well. We see a top 14, a top 7, and a top 10, and then a made cut. So Charlie Hoffman, if he's playing well, if he's playing his game, he's going to go out and play well. And then Andrew Putnam to close this out. I kind of like him as a play. And I do have another value play that I'm going to save for 9 to 5 Nation there. Can't give away all the secrets here, but Andrew Putnam, dude has been playing well. 21st, 7th, made cut, 5th, 32nd, 4th place finish. Andrew Putnam has been playing quality golf recently. You know, ranks out as someone that should be right around, or let's see, ranks out as someone that should be right around the cut line. He's about a top 60 stat fit, which is not great, not poor. Given the recent form, given the price point, it is going to be worth the risk. Maybe you throw him in around 5% of your GPP builds, which you can do on the 9to5sports.com. Go to the line generator, just throw him in at 5%, and you're good to go because he's a guy where if he does make the cut, if he does continue that recent form, he's obviously going to pay off for you guys at that price point. But that is all I have for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a like, subscribe. I do appreciate that. If you guys want to join 9 to 5 Nation, the best value in PGA DFS, or just the best in PGA DFS, there we go. You can. Link is in the description below. All right, guys, thanks for watching. As always, let's keep catching.